obviously we know when it comes down to empathy in youth work or human services work of any kind, empathy is required, right? So I think you guys are, if y'all don't know nothing, y'all know empathy. And I noticed that when we were on our call a couple of weeks ago. I love the amount of empathy you guys all show up to this work with. So in the research and sort of how I pull all of this together, there's really 3 keys to effective mentoring, right? Because we know mentoring increases protective factors and decreases risk factors. So it's being developmental rather than prescriptive. It's being trauma informed and culturally sensitive. And it's always noting where we are on the relationship journey. And when we do, we know, because if we begin with the end in mind, the goal is to develop healthy youth, right, with strong developmental assets. Well, you can't do that unless you have culturally responsive, trauma informed, good relationship, and be developmental, right? So that's like the keys to the game. We always know that. So the be developmental part, you guys, I'm sure you've been doing a mentoring a long time, so you know this. Like, developmental means I'm helping you grow. Prescriptive means I'm telling you the answers, right? I'm doing the tests for you in super summary, right? We don't want to be prescriptive. We want to be developmental with our families and our youth. So that means we're asking questions. We're giving information for them to look through, but we're not giving answers. We're giving them the opportunity to develop and grow. We are not saving anyone. As helpful as we might think it is, it actually is not, right? So, because if I always give you answers, then you need me. So as soon as I'm not here, you don't have the skill set you need to go forth and be great. So we always have to challenge ourselves to be developmental rather than prescriptive. Makes sense? Simple enough, right? Well, in theory, simple enough, right? So you guys know about the developmental assets, right? And risk and protective factors. Like, this is what it's all about. Or you guys hit me in the chat, just confirm you're familiar with these concepts, because I'm not going over there in depth. I hope you know about social and emotional learning. I hope you know about risk and protective factors. I hope you know about the 40 developmental assets. Get in the chat, let me know. Or come on and just say, yeah, we got it. We know this. We're experts. Where are you at? It's quiet. What happened?
Okay, I don't know this that well. I feel like I recognize some of it.
Okay.
And I think they generally make sense to me, but I was going to be one of the people who said no.
Okay. Well, the great thing is this stuff's all over the internet. Google developmental, 40 developmental assets, Google risk and protective factors, and Google social emotional learning. There's super dope stuff on there. It's easier, like, to go try to Google trauma. There's so much to it. That's a little bit harder to do. These are really simple concepts and stuff that you guys can just have at your fingertips. This is ultimately, you need to know this because your mentors need to know this, right? Protective factors are the things that support us in going forth and being great. Risk factors are the things that cause us to may not be able to go forth and be great. Mentoring and great relationships are increased protective factors, right? And so don't Google now, because you're supposed to be listening to me, okay? Don't do ADHD on me, okay? Just note it for later. But ultimately, this is the work we're doing, right? Is to develop all of this stuff. So whenever you're working with your mentors, or when you yourself are working, everything you do is about helping folks get here in a developmental way, which means I'm helping you learn it for yourself, not giving you the answers. Make sense? And maybe we can do another training later, Jennifer, on that. But this stuff is, I mean, if you guys at least familiarize yourself with it, it's not complex. It's just, it will help. Like, if you have this list, you could be thinking, oh, that's something we could really be focused on, honing in on a value that we could help a youth learn, or an empowerment component we could really hone in on with a family. So it just is a nice, helpful list of things to just keep handy.